my LARP, and I figured it's a nice day and it's that time of year to tell you a ghost story. Several ghost stories that happened to me on these grounds. So, the first ghost story I have, not too far in the path inside the lands. I saw a little blue orb right where I'm standing. Right about. It's about the size of a quarter. And I was walking, making my way from this path. And I was just seeing a perfect blue speck of light. Over there, I was thinking it was just a neighbor who has a, back porch light that is blue. Then I came from this direction. After walking past, came back walking this way, seeing the orb roughly the same place while I was going back to Tent City over there. And this happened about 3 times, walking back and forth. Just thinking to myself, that's odd. One September night, it was in bright with the moonlight. I was on High Trail, that's what we call it. And I was facing this way, then I turned away. Just for no apparent reason. Then I turned back. To see some woman who was like wearing something from like the War of 1812. Wearing gray. Just walking up the path. And me, being me, decided to do my usual thing of saying, "Hello, I'm Cyrus." And one part of me said in my mind, "Do not approach her." But I ignored what my inner dialogue said. That I stayed at a distance, but I still continued what I usually do in character. And I also said, "Would you like an escort?" It's one of the things I usually say. And I also said there is undead about tonight. And I didn't know how true I was. So I followed her. About, 5 seconds away, about a distance to, the pace you can touch her. She went around the bend of this fence. I lost visual contact, and I did not see her. So, right about here, where I saw a little girl with like shoulder-length blonde hair, wearing some kind of like night garments that, in America colonial times you probably might wear. Just there. Right here. No one else is like noticing, but I have noticed her. Me thinking that this is some kind of child kind of dressed up, belong to one of the other players in my LARP. So I talked with her, tell her what this game is all about, the rough summary of the rules, what we call numbers, try to answer questions. And I also showed her, how to, be out of game and kind of be like the wind or ghost and just put your head above your head and you're not there. So, saw her about 3 times. And just go around, and she had her head on her head. And I, pretended that, it's like, man, this wind. It's like, where is? I think she told me her name, but I forgot. through, you know, the mist, the memory, or whatever. And I was like, where are you? Where are you? Just all pretending that she wasn't there. And I finally, you know, asked someone about, you know, a little girl, like, who's the parents of this blonde-haired little girl who's on the field? I was like, there was no blonde little girl. Then I did not see her ever since. Another tale. I was up in the Tower of Power having a order meeting of the Merciful Order of Silvermane, and having a plot involving ghosts and a scroll. And the scroll wants bardic magic, and it wanted a slot from all the bards who ever sing to it, because its voracious hunger wants more bard slots. And he sends out ghosts, or it sends out ghosts, but it's he who is behind the ghosts in the scroll. Bit of a story there. So, actual NPC player ghosts come out and mess with the bards of the land, and only bards can see it. It can be detected by undead, you know, detection spells. But guess who is a bard who doesn't really like undead? This character. So, as the fake ghosts were messing with me, and character kind of freaking out lightly and not to, you know, lose face of other people in my order, just kind of grin and bear it, like, yeah. But it was hours late and I was dozing off. Then I felt a poke on my back. No one was over that way. No one's devious to, you know, poke me in there. It was an angle. It would be kind of difficult, and it was those, like, what? So after that happening, the in-game stuff, my character had a nervous breakdown because he can't do anything about those ghosts. And when a lesser death and his job is to deal with, you know, undead and things of like what's going on, couldn't do a thing. Yep, he kind of break down. And then my character has a long-standing history of hating undead. So, it's one of his breaking points. So, as my character, Cyrus, having a nervous breakdown, and right next to this fence, and this in a bit of the fetal position, as other people of the order still up in the Tower of Power over that way. And I'm just curled up, and I heard a whisper in my ear through the fence, enough to startle me and get me up. But I didn't even know what was said in that whisper. Not too far from where the other two stories happened. Coincidentally, it's all in the same night. All this was happening. The story about being touched in the power tower, whispers in the fence in the house. About less than 55 yards away, on a calm night, I noticed there was an organized movement through the bushes, like the shape of a person walking through the woods. But to my eyes, it looked like wind blew through two bushes, about roughly as wide as a human. After my character's nervous breakdown, he decided to go to the Venari camp to, get a little comfort and lay down in their comfy chairs. And once again, these chairs are very comfy, and I was gonna be dozing off. And when I was dozing off, I got poked right through the chairs. And the chairs have these little slots there, and wide enough you can poke through. But it's pretty deep and requires some effort. And no one was behind me. Usually, things are not as active compared to this event. What kind of startled things is the whole NPC ghost thing really startled everything up. Stirred everything up, should I say. And making, you could say, the spirits become more active. Usually not too much activity on this side of the field. So, one cold night, just walking the path to Module Land. That's what we call it. Formerly, other houses or whatnot. Hearing whistling in the brush, in the bushes, over somewhere around yonder. Just thinking, could be just someone, that's one of us. Just, walking to one place on the way back. Actually, not the way back. And I was with other people, heard the whistling. And they whistled back. I think we had some consequences with that. Supposedly, there's like 4 things that lurk in this part of the woods. One of them apparently is the whistler, one's a beast. Another one, other 2 I do not know. And I do believe one of them has red glowing eyes. I have experienced maybe another one who is walking in the woods. But that's another story I will tell in a moment. But right now, another story what happened around here. We were waiting around, being NPCs, and one of the phrases of these lands is, hurry up and wait. So we are definitely waiting. So I was like, alright, here just walking around, give or take right around this spot of the woods. And it was hot, very hot during the summer. And I felt a cold spot. I'm like, and this is just so hot I didn't really freaking care or get freaked out. And I'm like, I'm just going to stand right here and kind of experiment, sidestep, maybe a foot. Don't feel it. Sidestepping back again. Felt it, cold spot. I had someone else, like, hey, reach your hand right in there. And they felt it. And after that, stopped. Right around this lovely little structure, I had a moment of fear. And one of my fears is what could be in the dark. What could be lurking. Anything could be attacking. I wasn't afraid of the dark, I was afraid of what's in the dark. And that fear really intensified, almost to the point where I was gonna run out screaming. And it took somewhat of willpower to just hold that down. And I had another moment where that was kind of creeping up. It was, maybe a year after that, maybe it was a couple months. It's hard to tell. But I was NPCing. And I was thinking to myself, there's no need to be afraid, because I am the one in the dark. I am the creature that lurks. They should be afraid of me. And somehow that clicked with me. Just like that. To break my fear that holds me. Just being NPC, being the thing that lurks, being the thing that bumps, just killed that fear. So, I was escorting one of the Venari ladies to Tent City, and she didn't feel safe walking and having an eerie feeling. And just having a conversation about that, and I heard something, kind of lightly stalking us around in the woods. And this part of the field is pretty much, no game zone unless there's a module, whatever. So something is just like kind of stalking us. So I try not to get any attention to that while I'm escorting her. And she had a camp with her male companion over here within these boundaries, within these posts. This is the out of game area, the old out of game area. So what happens in Tent City is, out of game. So, and I told her the story of all the experiences I had on the field. As I was telling all the stories I told you, the male companion of the Venari lady heard rustling in the brush, just looking for it, seeing what could be in there. And I just kept telling the story, still rustling all around. And after I was done, I was gonna go back onto the field and just walk back. And clearly it was following me, because I went out of the boundaries. I think part why it didn't want to come towards, because in our minds we made that impenetrable for anything to go in, any evil voodoo spirits, whatever. So thoughts have power, and that's where this part of the story comes in. I was walking along, hearing it stalk, and my internal monologue in my mind is planning me in doubts and whatever. I assume it probably witnessed, things, my character is. Me and my character different, I'm kind of like, oh, ghost, whatever. So, and also, I was utilizing the warrior spirit, how it is tough, it could take on anything, surrounding me with that spirit as armor, so nothing can hurt me, and I'll take on anything. It will probably come out lurking out in the woods with my even fake weapons to it, whatever comers it may emerge, using that force of will to, be armor, to, defeat any doubts I probably had. And I felt a little bold, and I decided to go through the woods going to Banana camp. Nothing happening, and after I'd claimed that in my mind, it left me alone. I hope you enjoyed my ghost stories of my LARPing. So, remember, stay hydrated.